Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at June 23rd, 2025, a really critical moment where the Middle East was, well, holding its breath. Our
Mhm.
goal here is simple: cut through all the noise from that day's intelligence, get straight to the core facts, and give you the essential insights into the Iran-Israel-U.S. situation as it was unfolding.
Exactly. And June 23rd is so important because it really highlights how interconnected everything is.
Mm,
One statement, one military action. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It sends ripples, immediate ripples across the whole system.
yeah.
That's why looking closely at this specific day's intel is absolutely crucial for seeing the bigger picture.
Okay, let's unpack this then. The sources we have, they kick off with what seems like a pretty major shift in the U.S. position, specifically coming from President Trump. He was apparently talking about regime change in Iran, something about make Iran great again, while also saying U.S. strikes were aimed only at nuclear capabilities, not civilians.
That's right. And these weren't just words. The sources detail Operation Midnight Hammer on June 22nd. We're talking precision airstrikes. They hit key Iranian nuclear facilities, places like Fordo, that one built deep underground Natanz, the big enrichment complex, and Isfahan, crucial for uranium conversion. So definitely not random, very specific targets.
Specific, yeah, but even targeted strikes cause huge ripples, don't they?
Yeah.
That worldwide caution note from the U.S., that really jumped out. It shows just how worried they were about wider fallout.
Uh-huh.
So how did Iran react? What did the intelligence show about their immediate response to this, well, clear escalation?
Well, Iran's response was fiery. They called President Trump a gambler who started the war, but then they added this vow that Iran will be the ones to end it.
Right.
That shows real defiance. And the IRGC, Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, they issued a very stark warning too. Basically, any country letting the U.S. use its bases or helping with the strikes, they'd be considered a target.
Wow. Okay, that's a serious threat to U.S. allies in the region and maybe beyond. And it didn't stop there, did it? What about the Strait of Hormuz?
Still on the table. Tehran was still actively considering a blockade. And for you listening, that's the kind of move that could just paralyze global oil transport. Huge economic consequences.
Right. So while all this high-stakes rhetoric is flying around, what was actually happening militarily between Iran and Israel on June 23rd?
It was a dangerous continuation, like a really tense back and forth. The sources show missile exchanges were ongoing, explosions reported in Tehran, Parchin. But here's an interesting detail. Despite the intensity, Israeli defenses, their interceptors, reportedly stopped major casualties. It highlights this constant technological race in missile defense.
And Israel hit back.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
swiftly. Airstrikes, reportedly hitting 6 airports and other strategic spots inside Iran, like Parchin again. They use jets and drones, apparently. And importantly, Iran's foreign ministry came out saying, basically, no talks, no diplomacy until all the attacks stop. A very firm line.
So connecting this back to the bigger picture of the markets,
Yeah.
how did they react on the 23rd?
Predictably nervous. But it really underscored, I think, just how fragile global energy supplies are. Our sources highlight this reality. The world economy really depends on these narrow sea lanes, these choke points like Hormuz. So
Yeah.
any flare up there, it's an immediate, tangible threat to stability and, well, to your wallet through energy prices.
Mm-hmm. And amidst all this, you had global leaders stepping in, right? Russia, China, France, Germany, all calling urgently for everyone to just calm down, offering to mediate. The UN Security Council even held an emergency meeting.
Yeah, and at the UN, Iran accused the U.S. strike of breaking international law, asserting its right to self-defense. It's just such a tangled, complex situation.
So that's the snapshot for June 23rd. Escalated U.S. rhetoric, talk of regime change, Iran defiant, warning allies, threatening Hormuz, this continuous, dangerous military exchange with Israel, and the world pleading for de-escalation while the economy's on edge.
Exactly. It really captures the moment. Trump's rhetoric, Iran's defiance and threats, the actual missiles flying, the global calls for calm, and the nervous markets. That's June 23rd in a nutshell.
So let's recap those main threads from June 23rd. We had the louder U.S. talk, President Trump mentioning regime change, then Iran's firm pushback, those warnings to allies, and the ever-present Hormuz blockade threat, plus the ongoing, really risky tit-for-tat between Iran and Israel. And finally, those urgent international calls to step back from the brink, all happening against a backdrop of serious economic anxiety.
Right. Which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought for you, the listener, to consider. When you look at this complex mix, the military actions, the economic choke points like Hormuz, the diplomatic scrambling, how easily could one mistake, or just continuing the cycle of attacks completely upend global energy markets and alliances? And maybe more importantly, what real power do diplomatic interventions have to actually stop things from spiraling further out of control in a situation this volatile?
A crucial question indeed. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive today. Please stay informed as these complex events continue to develop.